On a stormy night, my boss showed up at my door, completely drenched in rain. I thought she came to fire me after my failed business. But instead, she said something that changed my life forever, and what happened next turned a broke, humiliated man into a billionaire. Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon, so you never miss our powerful and life-changing stories. Rain was crashing against my broken window that night. The cold wind smelled of wet dust and rusted metal. I was sitting on the floor of my tiny rented room, staring at a rejection email on my old laptop. Another failed business. Another dream buried. My hands were shaking. Not from the cold. From exhaustion. 3 years of sleepless nights. Loans I could not repay. Friends who slowly disappeared. Even my own family had begun to say. I was chasing impossible dreams. I was once an ambitious employee in a small tech company. My boss, Elena, was brilliant, calm, and strangely kind to me. She believed in ideas that others laughed at. But when my startup collapsed, I felt like a fraud. That night the rain became heavier. Then suddenly, knock. A slow, firm knock on my door. I froze. Nobody ever visited me. When I opened the door, the hallway light flickered. And there she was. Elena. Standing in the rain. Her hair soaked. Her coat dripping water onto the concrete floor. The sharp scent of rain followed her inside. I stared at her in disbelief. Why are you here? I whispered. She looked directly into my tired eyes. Not with pity. With fire. She stepped inside my miserable room. And slowly placed a thick folder on my table. I read every page of your failed proposal, she said softly. My stomach twisted with shame. Then she said something that changed the air in the room. I resigned today. My heart skipped. From tomorrow, I work for you. The storm outside roared louder. My mind could not understand her words. I was a broken man with debt and failure. Yet this powerful woman had just bet her career on me. She leaned closer and whispered. You are not finished, you are just beginning. At that moment, I realized something terrifying and beautiful. If she believed in me, I had no excuse left to quit. But what she revealed inside that folder made my hands tremble even more. My fingers trembled as I opened the folder. The room smelled of rain and damp paper. Inside were pages of numbers, charts, and contracts. But what shocked me most was the name on the first page. My idea. The same idea investors had laughed at months ago. My throat tightened. Elena, this is impossible, I said quietly. She shook her head. No. What is impossible is watching you destroy yourself because a few blind men said no. Her voice was calm, but her eyes carried fierce conviction. I flipped another page. Investor commitments. Market research. A prototype redesign. My heart began pounding. You did all this for me? I asked. She gave a faint smile. For the man who once stayed 3 nights in the office helping a junior employee who was about to quit. I remembered that night. A tired young woman crying at her desk. I had simply told her. Great things take time. Elena looked at me carefully. You gave people strength when you had nothing. The rain outside softened into a steady whisper. My chest felt heavy with emotions I had buried for years. But I failed, I said slowly. She stepped closer. Failure is data. Not destiny. Those words struck something deep inside me. For the first time in months, the suffocating weight on my heart lifted slightly. I studied the final page. A launch plan. 3 months. If this worked, it could change everything. My breath grew slow. Why risk your career for me? I asked. For a moment, she did not answer. Then she looked down, almost shyly. Because success built alone feels empty, she said softly. And because I have believed in you, far longer than you know. Silence filled the small room. Only the quiet rhythm of rain remained. That night we began working. 2 broken desks. 1 flickering bulb. And a dream everyone else had abandoned. Days turned into brutal weeks. Sleep became a rare luxury. But slowly, something extraordinary started to happen. Investors who once ignored my emails began replying again. One morning my phone rang with a number I did not recognize. When I answered, the voice on the other end said something that made my entire body go cold. The voice on the phone was deep. Calm. Unfamiliar. I am calling from the investment board, the man said. My heart started pounding harder. The room suddenly felt smaller. Elena looked up from the laptop, sensing something serious. We have reviewed your new proposal, the man continued. My throat felt dry. Months ago, these same people had rejected me in 5 minutes. Humiliated me in a glass conference room. One of them had even laughed. I still remembered the sound. Cold. Sharp. Cutting through my confidence. Now that same board was calling me. I pressed the phone tighter to my ear. And? I asked carefully. There was a brief silence. Long enough for my mind to imagine another rejection. My chest tightened. Then the man spoke again. Your technology is impressive. My eyes slowly met Elena's. She was watching me quietly. Hope and fear mixed in her expression. But, the man added, there is a problem. My stomach dropped. Problems meant delays. Delays meant death, for a startup drowning in debt. What problem? I asked. His next words froze the air in my lungs. One of our senior investors strongly opposes funding you. The rain outside had finally stopped. But inside my chest, a storm began again. Why? I asked. The man sighed. Because he claims he knows you personally, and believes you are not trustworthy. My mind raced. Who would say something like that? Then the man spoke a name. The moment I heard it, my blood turned cold. It was the same man who once called my dream a childish fantasy. The same man who humiliated me in front of everyone. And now, he had the power to destroy my second chance. I slowly lowered the phone. Elena's eyes searched my face. What happened? She asked. My voice came out heavier than I expected. We have an enemy. She stepped closer. Who? I looked at her, remembering the cruel smile from that meeting months ago. Then I said his name. The reaction on Elena's face was not fear. It was something far more surprising. Because she whispered quietly. I know him. I know him, she whispered. The words hung in the air like thunder before a storm. I stared at her. You know him, how? Elena did not answer immediately. She walked slowly to the window. Rainwater slid down the glass in thin silver lines. Her shoulders looked tense. Finally she spoke. He used to be my mentor. My heart skipped. That investor built half the companies in this city, she continued quietly. He taught me how power works. I felt a knot forming in my chest. Then why would he stop us? I asked. Elena turned toward me. There was pain in her eyes now. Because the idea you are building. She paused. Was once his. The room fell silent. My mind struggled to process the words. "He claims you stole it," she said. My breath became heavy. "That is a lie," I said firmly. "I know," Elena replied. Her voice carried absolute certainty. Then she stepped closer and placed another document on the table. "I kept proof, years ago." My hands slowly opened the file. What I saw inside made my heart race again. Because if this evidence reached the investors, everything could change. But Elena looked worried. "There is one problem," she said quietly. And what she revealed next made the situation even more dangerous. My hands trembled as I looked at the document. It was dated 5 years earlier. My original sketches. My first research notes. Even the early emails I had once sent to the company server. Proof. Clear and undeniable. Elena had saved everything. "He tried to claim it after you left the company," she said quietly. "Most people never saw the truth." My chest tightened. All those years of humiliation suddenly made sense. The next morning we walked into the investor boardroom. The same cold glass walls. The same long table. And the same man sitting at the head. His confident smile faded the moment Elena placed the evidence on the table. Silence spread across the room as the investors read every page. Minutes felt like hours. Finally the chairman spoke. "We made a mistake. The man who once mocked me could not even look into my eyes." That day the board approved the investment. Months later our company launched. Then it grew. Faster than I had ever imagined. Years passed. The small dream born in a rainy, broken apartment became a billion-dollar company. But the greatest victory was never the money. It was the moment I stood on the stage during our global launch and looked at Elena in the front row. The woman who believed in me when even I had lost faith. Success, I learned, is not built by talent alone. It is built by courage, honesty, and the rare people who stand beside you when the world walks away. And sometimes, one person's belief is powerful enough to change an entire destiny.